Hello, my name is Selena.
And my name's Theoni, and you are listening to Piping Hot.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Piping Hot. We are so excited that you are here. And if you listened to our episode last week, you know that this is part 2 of us chatting about Ali Hazelwood's newest novel called Check and Mate. Last week, we talked about our overall thoughts, but now me and Theoni are going to get into the meat of the book.
Yes.
And what we disliked and what we liked.
I'm super excited to see kind of what things we're going to point out because we were kind of shit talking it a little bit last episode. So I'm excited to see where we go with it.
Yeah. Well, we can dive into the novel.
Yeah, let's just dive in now.
Yeah, okay. So instead of our usual kind of split by going chapter by chapter, we went by parts because this book is separated by parts. Mm-hmm. So I will read the summary that I put together for part 1 called Openings. And it's a little long, but I'll go fast.
Okay.
We are introduced to our main character, Mallory, who is a recent high school graduate. We learn that her father is out of the picture for an unknown reason, and she supports her two sister and her mom, who's dealing with arthritis. When she plays at a charity chess event, she meets the infamous Nolan Sawyer, nicknamed King Killer, and wins the match against him. Afterward, Mallory is offered a fellowship to play chess professionally, which would open the doors to earn the cash she needs to keep her family afloat and reignite her conflicted feelings for chess. Part 1 ends with Mallory accepting the fellowship. My first comment is that this is Ali Hazelwood's first novel in first person, I think, which I really love.
What do you mean?
Like, she uses I. She hasn't done...
She did that in other books.
No, she hasn't.
Yes.
No.
Was the Love Hypothesis not like that?
Oh, wait. Okay. Love theoretically was in first person. The Life Hypothesis was not.
Are you sure?
Yeah, huh. Wait, what about Love on the Brain? Okay, Love on the Brain is first person. Wait.
That's what I thought, Selena. I don't think Ali Hazelwood has ever written in third person.
No, she has written in third person in The Love Hypothesis.
Are you sure?
Yeah. She frowned at Adam. I thought you grew up in Europe? Olive's eyes widened.
Okay,
so she wrote third person for this, and I think her novellas, but then Love on the Brain and Love Theoretically are first person. Wow.
Interesting.
Fake fan that I am. But yeah, I just love her first person narration.
Yeah. No, me too.
I will say Ali Hazelwood knows how to write a first meeting between the two main characters.
She does. She really does.
I loved this first meeting between Nolan and Mallory. Mm-hmm. It was so great and so funny. Like, it was just... I love it.
Why am I forgetting what it was?
It was them at the charity chess event, and she was like, oh, I'm just going to play against, Nolan or whatever. Yeah. And she was, nervous. She was playing just,
And then all of a sudden she won, and she was like, bye.
Yes! I think it's so funny. I will say, right, I mean, I have a lot of gripes with this particular book, but Ali Hazelwood does know how to increase the stakes of her novels. I think she's really grown from The Love Hypothesis in the sense where she puts her characters in such a pickle that there's literally no other way than to take this opportunity that's presented in front of them. And I think that's what she did so well in Mallory's case with the whole fellowship thing.
Sure.
Oh, I was intrigued by her family situation, but honestly, as the novel kept going on, I got more and more irritated by it, and I was wondering if you had any thoughts about the progression of that or anything
about the progression of what?
Of her family situation, of her family dynamics with her sister and her mom and her dad and all of this I
just felt like it was kind of inconsistent. I felt like it was fine and it seemed like things are okay, but then all of a sudden Sabrina was being so mean.
Such a fucking bitch.
Such a bitch. And then
oh my gosh,
all of a sudden it was okay again, really, because I don't know. It felt inconsistent. It was very clear what she was trying to do, but I felt like it could have been a little more natural.
Yeah, I agree. And then my last comment for part 1 is that I love I say Daphne. Is that how you pronounce her name?
That's how I was saying it in my head, so we'll just roll with it.
I love her. I love her. I would be best friends with her.
Yeah. No, she seemed like she was a really good character.
Yes. Yeah,
definitely got her vibe very quickly.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I just have to say, before we move on to part 2, I think in general, I didn't really understand why this had to be separated into 3 parts.
I didn't either.
It could have just been a chapter book, because it's not like there was any like time jump or significant difference in Mallory's mindset in each part of why it would make sense to have it be in 3 separate chunks.
Yep. It's interesting because I've never really seen parts in young adult novels. It's very common for adult novels, though.
Yes.
So when I saw it was in parts, I was like, this is weird. But, I mean...
And it was like beginning, middle, end, right?
Yeah,
also?
It was like chess references.
Yeah, I don't know. It felt forced.
I thought it was cute, but I'm like, you could have taken it out and it wouldn't have changed a fucking thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, literally.
Okay. Anything else for part 1?
Nope.
Okay. Part 2 is called The Middle Game, and this is like the middle, like the huge middle chunk of the book. So this summary is really long. I will go very, very fast. Mallory embarks on her fellowship, all the while lying to her family that she's working at a senior center in New York. She participates in the Philly Open, which garners major attention as she comes out victorious. She also earns the attention of Nolan Sawyer, who shows up at her house to chat after the Philly Open. When Mallory gets a chance to participate in the chess Olympics, she takes it. Unbeknownst to her, Nolan and his friends are on the U.S. team, so Mallory works with them to win, as well as getting more chances to get to know Nolan. When a Vanity Fair piece is published about her and Nolan's relationship, she rushes over to his house to confront him, but he's sick from traveling so much, and Mallory takes care of him. Then, Mallory is one of 10 people chosen to participate in the Challenges tournament, the tournament before the World Chess Tournament, against the current world champion, who is Nolan. When Mallory loses the Challengers tournament, Nolan recruits Mallory to help him train against Malt Coach in the World Chess Tournament. Mallory
kept pronouncing it cock.
I mean,
sorry.
Accurate too.
Yeah.
Mallory stays at his upstate house as Nolan's second, and things progress in their relationship. Only when Mallory finds out that Nolan paid for her fellowship, as well as coached cheating in the Challengers tournament, which means that Mallory will play Nolan in the World Chess Tournament, does she leave their relationship in shambles. She has a heart-to-heart with her family and her team, Daphne and Oz, and finally agrees to go with the Challengers tournament against Nolan. My first comment... Oh my god, okay, rolling my eyes until it went into the back of my head. I laughed when Mallory mentioned how, like, Nolan was doing an interview or something and he was running late on a Zoom or whatever, and he was shirtless and he pulled a Henley over or whatever. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, that's why I asked the Henley question, because I'm like, first of all, can teenagers afford Henleys? And 2, do they even know what it is? I was like, this is fucking ridiculous.
You clocked it right away.
Yes!
Like, no.
I was like, what? Like, I understand it's a classic in an adult contemporary romance, but you need to make it believable for a young adult novel.
For sure. Yeah.
I just said from page 124 to 126 that there were some really good Gen Z references. Again, even though I have a lot of gripes with the references that Ali Hazelwood made, I think there were some that were really, really well done. Like,
sure.
From this little section, she referenced Riverdale, and she referenced Laura Jean, which is from, like, To All the Boys I've Loved Before, and I was like, that is believable to me.
That makes sense.
Yes, exactly. Oh my god. Okay, so these fucking cultural references were just cutting me. I was just like, I was just okay. Like tearing it apart because I was so pissed off about it.
Yeah.
Page 145, Mallory mentions that Nolan is like Justin Bieber or something when she's approached in the airport for pictures and autograph. But my gripe with it is there anyone else Gen Z-wise that would have been more relevant than Justin Bieber? Because Justin Bieber is very millennial coded.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. Gen Z knows who Justin Bieber is, but they do not understand the craze.
They could have used.
Exactly. Like, there was someone else. Like, yes, I understand you're trying to capture the craze of Justin Bieber, right? Because that was fucking insane. But I'm like, there's someone else that could be a better Gen Z example.
Yep.
You know what was so interesting when I read this is, remember when we were standing in line at Las Vegas and we were talking to those guys when we were waiting for the club or whatever, and they were 21, right? 21.
Babies.
Yeah. Babies. And we were talking to them and they mentioned something about TikTok and Nash or someone Nash or someone Cameron or whatever, and they're like, oh my god, yeah, like we don't want to be like them, blah blah blah, and me and you just laughed uncomfortably because we didn't understand that reference. We do not know who the fuck that person was.
No, we did not.
That's exactly what I
about that.
That's exactly what I wanted to feel for this novel, of like some of them, yeah, I wanted to understand, but also some of them I wanted to be like, who is that? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, you're like, what are you talking about?
Exactly. But because I understood too much of this, I was like, no. Like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, gosh. No.
Okay. Page 165. This is my comment. I said, I threw up in a great way.
Oh, wait, what happened?
165 here. Let me see it. It said I have to read... Okay, yes, I did throw up in a good way. Okay. Because, again, it's like classic.
What was it?
Ali Hazelwood. They were having a conversation, I think, at the party or something. I don't know. It says, I take a step back and refuse to admit that I entertained the same thought. Instead, I said, I don't want to play against you. A problem, since I really want to play against you. I shiver because it feels like he's saying something else. Like, I don't know. You already have. Once. Once was enough. Once was nothing. I need more. I'm sure there are plenty of people who'd love to play, who'd probably pay just to sit across from you. But I want you, Mallory. I was like, okay. I can vibe with that, okay?
But again, I got it. Here's the thing. Isolated, I love that. But in the context of everything else, I'm like, when did you decide to want her?
Yes, no, you're right. You're literally right, Theoni, though. You're right.
Like
when did it click for him?
Gave me shivers. Relatable, Mallory. But like, when did this happen?
Yes.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
No.
Yeah, honestly. But yay, still.
Yes.
Okay, again, page 182, I couldn't believe that, like, Nolan had his own penthouse when, like, Mallory goes over. And I was like... Are you fucking kidding me? I'm like, this is a young adult novel, Ali Hazelwood. What do you mean a 20-year-old has his own penthouse? And then it's explained away because he inherited it from his grandfather and blah, 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 blah. So, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But I will say I did laugh because all he had was cereal. And I was like, yeah, that tracks for a teenager. I'm like, oh, you have a cereal? I'm like, okay, I will give you that, Ali Hazelwood. Yeah. Their fight from page 238 to page 242 is so weird to me. It gave me like so much whiplash that it was like really hard for me to believe in it. And like, I think basically this argument was like when Nolan was telling Mallory about like what happened to his grandfather. And then Mallory gets like really defensive about her family. And now he doesn't understand what she's going through. And then they angrily attempt to play through a game of chess. But then they can't because she's so fucking angry. But then they like make up right away. And I was like, oh.
So, again, I'm realizing as we're talking about how disjointed this book feels in like every sense of the word.
Yes.
It's like, I could understand the argument in a different context. Like, isolated different things work, but together it's a clusterfuck.
It didn't make sense the way that it flowed, that the way that the sequence of the events were. Like, it just like, I was like, what is happening? What is happening?
Yeah, no, truly.
Okay, I said bottom of page 250 to page 251. And I said, excuse you, ? I'm so conflicted because I love these moments, but they don't feel like YA to me. Ugh, IDK. That's what I said.
IDK.
So it's when they play chess in teams against each other. I don't think I have anything.
Oh, okay. That's all right.
Sorry, I was going to read anything. I realized I didn't have a quote, but it's basically when they play chess against each other and like Nolan and Mallory on the same team, and he like slides behind her seat or whatever.
That felt so random to me.
Yeah, that felt
because
very
like
random
I
to me
love
too.
that moment, but again, it's like when did that
the build
become
up
their norm?
Exactly. Like I think it was fine. I think after rereading it, I was like, okay, I can see that feels like more like college coded, where it's like, oh, you're gonna be flirty and you're gonna do that. Like, okay, that's believable, but you're right. When did that pick up? Like, what sequence of events?
It doesn't make any sense. Nope. It does not.
Okay, page 274, I said shots fucking fired because I was digging. I was digging this. The fight between Nolan and Mallory was super intense. Oh, God, and her comeback is so brutal, but I love it. So this is what she says to him because he basically says that she's crazy, and this is what she says. And you would know crazy. I say it calmly, coldly, and even when I see something fracture in his eyes, I power through. You don't love anyone except for yourself. You're manipulative, selfish. You're alone because your family hates you, and now I hate you too. So dramatic for a teenager.
Mallory was so out of pocket.
I know she was.
No, but the thing that she said didn't even make sense to me, though, because nothing about anything that Nolan showed her said that he was manipulative and that his family hates him and he's alone. Like, nothing about anything said that besides a little bit of his past behavior of, like, what was going on. But, like, I don't think there was enough of a basis for that, for the hit. I was just like, you're being irrational, Mallory.
Yeah, honestly, though, I love that because I feel like teenagers have, like, really, they spiral so much quicker. And so I was like, okay, that makes sense. I will say I understood the, like, manipulative part of it because, like, with the fellowship and stuff, it did seem like he sponsored the fellowship and he asked Daphne to, like, look for Mallory, right? Which we find out is false. But, like, it in her mind, I could see where she could spiral and where she, like, connected all these dots of, like, oh my God, he sponsored this fellowship just so that he could talk to me and do this and da-da-da so that we could work together and all that stuff. So, like, a part of me understands that, but you're right. Most of it was just, like, fucking wild.
Yeah,
like, it was just I was like, okay, Mallory, cool.
All right, Mallory.
Okay, page 284. The confrontation with her sisters and her mom at the end of part 2. Honestly, I was so annoyed with them. I was with Mallory. Like, I don't even care. They were so rude to Mallory.
And the fact that the mom was in on it and then comes in and is like, I knew the whole... That's again why the family felt so disjointed to me, because they're all just in there talking shit about her, where it's like the mom should have been the one. I could understand if Mallory overhears and then it turns out that, like, her mom was trying to actually, like, be like, you guys don't understand, like, whatever, like, but then the fact that the mom was in on it and then comes in there and acts like the peacekeeper, or like, I didn't believe that at all.
Me neither. I didn't even care because I was like, oh, now you're gonna try to be the peacekeeper. Now you're gonna try to be a parent when Mallory has had the fucking world on her shoulders his entire time. Like, no, I don't. Nothing is believable.
That pissed me off as well.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was a really quick part 2, but that's all that I had. Did you have, like, anything else?
No. Okay. And I think it's one of those books where because, well, number one, I just read it really fast. But number two, because there was a lot of issues that I had with it, just similar to you, I feel like I have less to say because it's just, like, different examples of the same issue that I'm like, okay, am I going to hash it out again, or am I just going to let it fucking go?
Yeah, exactly. So,
all right.
Okay, part 3, which is called Endgame. And here is my summary. Along with her family and team, Mallory flies to Italy for the World Championship. To prep, she studies Nolan's grandfather's games, but not Nolan's games, because she thinks it's unfair that she knows all his weaknesses and moves from being his second. Then Easton arrives and they make up with Mallory. Nolan and Mallory have a press conference before the championship. When asked what they admire the most about their opponent, Nolan admits everything, while Mallory can't come up with an answer. Before the big day, Mallory goes down to where the match will take place which is like a greenhouse, and finds Nolan there. Mallory apologized to Nolan and admits that she wants to be with him. In the epilogue 2 years later, it's revealed that Mallory won the championship on the last 12th match when all 11 that came before it were draws. Their relationship is steady, and Nolan and Mallory are to meet once again at the championship for a rematch, but this time by being a couple. Page 307. I think, what was her other, Darcy, right? Her other sister's name was Darcy or whatever.
Yes.
On page 307, there was a cute little, like, sneaky little slip up that she had where it's like, oh, like, you got this new jewelry. And Darcy was like, oh, like, no, Mom bought it for me. And I was like, I saw that slip up. Nolan bought you that fucking jewelry. He's been hanging out with you. And I was like, oh, that's so cute. But yeah. I need your fucking thoughts on Easton because that whole storyline pissed me off.
Oh my God. It felt like either make it a main plot point or don't have it in there at all.
Yes.
And we didn't get enough of it to understand why all of a sudden they stopped talking.
Yes.
And then the resolution was Easton saying, this is just the way you are. I should have known it.
Yep. Like, it's your fault, actually. Like, what? Are you
also,
fucking kidding me?
If they're as much of best friends as they, like, tried to establish, I don't believe that this would have ever happened.
Yes.
What would have been more realistic was, like, one of them kept trying to reach out to the other, and it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
And, like, what would have made sense to me was that, because I know that Ali Hazelwood had Mallory reach out to Easton a couple times with no response.
Yes.
But would have made more sense to me or made it had a little more impact was like if Easton had reached out to her and Mallory kept forgetting to respond because she was so busy.
That is what annoyed me because I thought this whole confrontation at the end, Easton was basically just fucking gaslighting Mallory because guess what? All we saw was Mallory trying to reach out to Easton and getting nothing. And then Mallory just stopped sending stuff and I was like, okay, I would stop sending stuff too. And then Easton comes to Italy and he's like, I sent some stuff and then you never replied and I thought you were too cool for me with all this chess stuff. And I was like, you did not even fucking try to reach out to Mallory.
No, you could have said one time, like, I want to hear more about this. And, like...
Well, and then she did. Easton did, I think, one time when the Vanity Fair article came out or whatever. She was like, I have to find out my best friend's relationship through Vanity Fair and just, like, guilt-tripping Mallory. Like, that's the only time she reached out.
But again, when she reached out, she made it seem like a joke. So I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, I hated it.
Yeah, no, I hated
their entire storyline.
Me too. It pissed me off.
Another thing to be pissed about.
I know.
That just felt so whatever.
Yeah, it pissed me off. Okay.
Yeah.
I will say, this is my favorite line in the entire novel. It is.
Oh, God. Okay.
Page 3.
That was so... so assured.
Honestly, there's not a lot to like about this book.
The best line of literature ever. All right, let's hear it.
Actually, it's in that novel that you got about that Kaylin had read to me. That's the best piece of literature that I've ever heard.
Yes, where she sat on his face. Yes.
That is actually my favorite line. Just kidding. Okay, page 339. It says, what did it say? Where am I looking? Okay, it says.
You're too distracted by this other.
I am. I'm too distracted about my other favorite line ever. This is what Nolan says to Mallory when they're like making up in the greenhouse. It says, because when I'm with you, Mallory, everything is different. When I'm with you, I want to play more than I want to win. Which I really love because I feel like with Nolan, right, his reputation is like he's the king killer. He is the best at chess. And I think he found someone who like he doesn't even care about winning. It's just like he wants to play.
This is like such a reference, and I know you're gonna like vomit, but it's almost like Travis Kelce and Taylor, where it's like
don't talk about mom and dad.
The noise you just made killed me. But it's like they found each other where it's like they can both be successful without being jealous and just support each other, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
Like there's not jealousy.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. And I think in a sense like Nolan found his equal in Mallory. So I just really, really love that line. Yeah. And then the end of the epilogue, I thought it was very clever the way that she had written the epilogue. Like I love that it's like
I think so too.
A news article. The end, page 347, I was like kicking my feet and like giggling because like this is what it says. But eyewitnesses reported that when asked how Nolan felt about the possibility of Mallory Greenleaf accruing enough points to take the #1 spot from him, he simply smiled before walking away. Oh. It's so cute. It is cute.
5 hours later.
So once again, guys, we're having more technical difficulties today, which is making me want to rip my fucking hair out. Yes. But yeah, so we're going to try our best to jump in where we left off. We were talking about the epilogue that was written by like a news reporter, which is really clever. And then we were talking about the moment where they basically asked Nolan about like how he would feel if Mallory took the number 1 spot, and he smiled and walked away, which we were both in agreement was so like subtle but so cute and very what I would expect from him in that situation, you know?
100%. Like, I thought it was just so cute, like, so, like, on brand for him, but it was just, like, it showed just, like, how much he really, really valued Mallory after all these years, right? Because, like, the epilogue takes place, like, 2 years later or whatever. But I just really loved it, so.
I know, me too.
So, that's my thing. I loved these little moments, but as a whole book, I was not feeling it.
Yeah, I totally agree with that assessment. I think this happens a lot where as we talk about it more, I realize that I like it less than I thought I did, because it's like, especially when it's an author you really, really like, it's like I want to like it so bad that I'll convince myself I like it more than I do. So I think... And you know what? Again, I can respect what she was trying to do with it.
Yeah.
I still like the premise. Like, we like the general idea of it, but it just wasn't as successful as her other ones. But I don't think that she should stay away from young adult. I just think that it's like, you know, I think, there's like, some work to be done there.
Yes, it's kind of like the love hypothesis, where it's like, is it the best adult contemporary romance novel? No.
Yes.
But she has improved. She has improved by so much, especially with Love Theoretically. I think she made leaps of growth with that book, and like I think she can do the same with young adult. Yeah. So
for sure. And Ali Hazelwood, we still trust. Okay, this didn't ruin it.
Exactly.
Okay, it's all good. Alrighty, I think that's it for the week. We don't know what our next episode is going to be about, but I believe, are we going to take a break this next episode? I guess we'll never know. So obviously I'll be real with you guys right now. This is going to be a little out of order, these next 2 episodes you get, because we had so many technical issues that we're just going to roll with it. But basically, this ended up being a 2-parter. So we were going to take a break, but now we're switching when we're going to take the break. So whether we have one more episode after this or we take a break and then come back, we'll let you know. It'll be a very fun surprise for you guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, is that all the housekeeping things that I need to go over? Or
I think that is all the housekeeping. Okay. Thanks for coming along for the ride, you guys. Yes. We always enjoy your company. So.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for listening to The Chaos, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.